everyone. Welcome to The Voice, a podcast series by RISC Foundation, where we amplify stories, perspectives, and lived experiences of community leaders and change makers. Conversations are centered around pressing topics such as access to education, skill building, career pathways, and real-world challenges impacting youth, especially those from equity-seeking communities. In today's podcast, we have with us Jeff Bacchus, Community Engagement and Fund Development Specialist from Big Brothers Big Sisters of Toronto. Jeff has been deeply involved in supporting young people and their families by bringing to them invaluable connections and opportunities. Thank you for joining RISC Foundation's The Voice podcast. We're honored to have you.
Thank you so much for having me.
We know you work closely with young people and their families across the GTA. Right now, what are the biggest pressures shaping how youth think about their futures?
Right now, I think some of the biggest pressures that youth are facing is uncertainty. Given the financial climate, the world that we're living in right now, there's a lot of uncertainties with regards to housing. Education's expensive. Opportunities aren't equal. So I feel like a lot of youth are facing those uncertainties about where to go in school, with the career, finding those opportunities that will allow them to be the best version of themselves. Social media, I think, plays a big role in today's climate with regards to measuring up against each other. I think a lot of the youth today are on Instagram, on TikTok, seeing what people are doing and think that it's a quick success, and they're measuring themselves against the people and things that they're seeing on social media. So I think that's one big pressure that, in particular, the youth are facing in today's climate.
Yeah, for sure. Like being online, I think makes youth feel like they're already behind before they've even begun because of the accelerated comparison. But at the same time, the online world provides them with endless options and possibilities that they could choose from. And having said that, we often frame youth success as a matter of making the right choices. From what you see, how constrained are those choices in reality?
So we often talk about like youth coming or have the same opportunities, but I think in reality we know that's not the truth. I think youth coming from different backgrounds have or facing more pressures to succeed, to help support their families. And I'm finding that not all youth have the equal opportunity. A lot of it comes down to access. I think access to, as I mentioned earlier, affordable housing, access to education, those are all playing some factors in with regards to the constraints that youth are facing in today's society. And we feel like having a big brother, a big sister, a big sibling, somebody that they can look up to and help them, guide them through life and all those uncertainties is a big motivator and a big factor in allowing them to be the best version of themselves, as opposed to being who society thinks they should be.
As you work closely with equity-seeking youth, including many Black students, what additional layers of pressure or risk do they face when navigating education and career decisions?
Yeah, I think what a lot of Black youth and BIPOC and underserved youth are facing is that pressure to succeed, help to support their family. And as I spoke about earlier, they have less access to things than our white counterparts, so to speak, those who have had a little bit more privilege. I feel like our equity-serving youth, or the Black youth, deserve those opportunities, and we need to do a great job at providing them with equal opportunities compared to their counterparts within the community.
And I feel like playing it safe almost becomes like a rational decision for them, even if it limits their potential, because that pressure to represent their family or community while navigating this bias adds another level in their decision-making process.
It really does. And to add to that too, I feel like, when you look at representation, often we see, Black youth striving to be athletes or striving to be, a music artist, but not seeing all those other paths that are available to them, whether it's being a doctor, working in STEM. There's so many other opportunities out there, and we need to continue to provide those wide range of offerings so they don't play it safe, to your point, as we see a lot of youth tend to do.
Yeah, for sure. And you work closely with the youth through Big Brothers Big Sisters of Toronto, and we have partnered with them on a program that gives students hands-on exposure to different types of risks and career paths. So from your experience, why is that kind of early exposure so important for them?
I think early exposure is so important, and I'm so happy that we were able to partner with RISC on this. To show them what's available, what's out there, and to provide them with as much education and awareness as possible. I feel like once we expose them to all the different risks that are out there, they'll be a lot more prepared for whatever comes next. I know for myself, I deal with a lot of anxiety, and I feel like when I'm prepared for whatever I'm doing, whether it's an amazing podcast or a presentation to recruit Big Brothers or Big Sisters mentors, preparation helps me kind of calm those anxieties, and I feel like it's similar in the risk aspect as well. With if you're as prepared as you possibly can be for all sorts of risks that are out there, you're going to be able to navigate and jump over those hurdles once you face them.
Unfamiliar spaces become a little less intimidating with preparation. So why is it so important that solutions be shaped with community voices rather than designed for communities from the outside?
Yeah, it's a great question. I feel like it's so important for us to understand what the communities are needing before we come in and provide them with a solution. Often we have individuals who will come in and just kind of provide a solution, but it's not sustainable. I feel like often we need to ask folks what they want, what they need to be successful, and learning from the community before implementing a solution, so to speak. I think, just learning from each other and working with community organizations to help develop programs, develop initiatives that will better serve that specific community is so important.
Yeah, for sure. I think the key takeaway is the expanding possibility of it, that it's not just structural, but also psychological, so that young people, again, aren't making decisions from fear or limitation, but rather from clarity and confidence as things become more clear for them.
A phrase you mentioned, expand possibilities, is exactly what we as Big Brother, Big Sister Toronto tried to do for the youth as well. So I'm so happy you kind of spoke on that motto of expanding possibilities. A lot of what we do is try to, as you mentioned, expose the youth to the risks that are out there, but show them ways to navigate those risks and find ways that we can allow them to be the most authentic versions of themselves while navigating the risk and expanding their possibilities.
And as you work with communities, what questions or concerns do parents raise most often when it comes to their children's futures, and where do you see the biggest gap in information that they're given?
Yeah, I feel like for one, the biggest gap with regards to information is, I think, around access. I think a lot of parents are concerned about their youth's academic achievement and possible jobs that come from that. But I do feel like often these parents or the kids are shown very narrow avenues that they can achieve their success. Exposing them to risk, I feel like broadens their horizon, shows them the different possibilities, expand the possibilities, as you mentioned earlier. I think that will go a long way in showing the youth all the different options that are out there for them to be successful. It's not a rigid path that I feel like sometimes society tells us it is.
And from your point of view, where do formal education systems fall short in preparing youth life beyond the classroom? As you mentioned, expanding possibilities and families kind of being in their safe zone and only doing things that feels familiar to them. Where does the formal education system pose a gap?
I feel like something that the formal education is posing a gap in kind of failing our youth is showing them that, being successful isn't strictly academia. Showing them that, volunteering and being more community focused might not be, necessarily academic focused, but you're helping your community. Things that I feel like the education system is kind of failing us as well is providing the youth with financial literacy, showing them ways that they can be, financially literate and how to plan for their future. And just, I feel like another way that the education system isn't doing as good of a job as they could have or they can be doing is as I mentioned, providing them with a wider range of
Yeah.
different opportunities. I go back to like when I was in school, and they said that you can go to college or university, and it felt like that was it. But there's so many other avenues out there for you to be successful. I remember going back when I was back in school, trade school wasn't a big thing that wasn't being promoted. It just felt like you need to get straight A's and go to university. But there's so many other avenues to be successful and be a positive contributor to our society. So I feel like those are different areas that the education system could definitely do a better job at showing the wide range of possibilities available for the youth.
Yeah, 100%. Like students are really taught how to navigate non-linear paths.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, there's just one set in stone way. And it's important for them to build their network or to learn how to recover strategically from failures. And that's where community-based organizations become so critical, because they help bridge the gap between the theory and the lived reality that they face. Now, what would you say are the long-term consequences of sending students into adulthood academically prepared, but unprepared to navigate real-world uncertainty?
Wow, that's a deep question. I feel like the issue with that is that the kids don't have the social skills necessarily. They might get the academic skills, but it's those social skills, those soft skills that I feel like, it's so important for you to be the best version of yourself. Empathy, like teaching the youth empathy, things of that nature, those soft skills. I feel like in addition to academia is important, but combined is super important.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. Well, as we come to the end of today's conversation, I want to sincerely thank you for taking the time to share your experiences, perspectives, and the incredible work that you're doing with young people and their families across communities. So thank you for joining The Voice, Jeff. We hope that today's conversation not only gave you a deeper understanding of the challenges youth face, but also the incredible impact that access to education, skill building, and career pathways can have in shaping brighter futures. At the RISC Foundation, conversations like these are at the heart of what we do. Through initiatives like the RISC Education and Real program, we work directly with young people to build their resilience, confidence, and decision-making skills for their career and life. Thank you for watching today's podcast, and stay tuned for the upcoming ones.